Yep. Hello, welcome Facelandia. This is Stephen Macromella coming to you live from Santa Cruz, California, channel WBOA. And I'll just wait a moment or two here, make sure the lighting and the sound is working all right. And we'll just wait. Okay. Looks like everything's working all right. All right, let's get started. Hello. And who do we have today? Hello, Paula. Nice to see you. So, welcome. Thank you again for joining and being a part of the 30-day challenge. We are on day 27. Can you believe it? So today we're going to be doing Celestial Dragon. We're going to do our second day of Celestial Dragon and focus a little bit more on the snow leopard, the white leopard. So let's get started. Okay. So starting off with the feet, shaking the bones of the foot like you've got a maraca, and just loosening up any tension, letting go of any tension, let it drop and fall out of the sole of your foot, shaking the bones of the shin bone, so you're stirring a cauldron with your shin bones, up into the knee and the thigh, get the leg in front of you, to the side, behind you, shake the meat of the quad and the hamstrings off of your thigh bone. Let the vibrations of your leg travel through your body. Shake and relax and release any unnecessary tension. Good. Loosen it up, shake your booty. And then other foot. Relax, breathe. Good. Into the shin bone. I always think of Michael Jackson when I do this. Okay, good. Up into the quad, into the hamstring, shake your thigh bone, get your leg in front, to the side and behind you. Good. And then, oh, we forgot chubby checkers. So coming on down, shake, and up. Get the pelvis rotating. Good, excellent. And bouncing one knee and then the other. Relax. And then both knees together. And letting the vibration from the drop in the knees travel through the body. Release any unnecessary tension. Good. And flicking the arms, flicking the flicking exercise, and yeah, 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 whoa, 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 yeah, 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 whoa, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Relax, feel your body. Release any unnecessary tension. Okay. And let's go through the basic breaths. We're going to connect and focus in particular on the energy, which is just central to White Leopard. So we'll do the basic breathing and focus on the cocoon and the golden spiral. And relaxing, connecting to the elements of the earth, below your feet and above your head. And breathing in. Actually, I kind of rushed that. Let's take a step back. Sorry about that. But let's take a moment. Focus on the sphere of energy below the feet and the sphere of energy above the head. And draw the spiral of energy around your body. And take a moment, just feel it. Feel and see it in your mind's eye as the energy spirals around. And again, it has that imbued quality of drawing in what you need and keeping out what you don't. And just feel that connection. Sometimes what I like to do is I'll just move a little bit up and down, and I'll just imagine that coil like a spring being loaded up. And as I move the coil, it's sort of like a muscle. The movement pulses energy through that line and makes it more resilient. Energy systems like the body, use makes the organ, right? So doing a bit of motion with the visualization makes the energy system a little bit more potent. All right, so I have that line. And then the other line in the other direction, connect with the sphere below your feet, send a thread of energy around, spiraling around you, gradually coming up higher, interweaving with the first strand going in the opposite direction. And it connects to the ball above your head. And you feel the ball below your feet, the one above your head, and the opposing coils between them. Good. And again, a little bit of a pulse. Squeeze the coil, squeeze the coil, squeeze the cocoon. And feel it in front and back. Just notice where you may feel like you have some blank spots. And we'll do the retention breathing. Forgot the spiral. Let's do the spiral. So the golden spiral. Again, the ball below, the one above, and you're drawing a golden coil up the midline of your body from one ball to the other. So you have the cocoon and you have the spiral. Good. We'll do our exercise with the golden spiral, where every time we breathe in, we make the spiral a little bit larger. Exhale, keep it at that increased size, and then inhale again, making it larger. Visualize it continuously spinning, and like a brush on in a car wash, it's brushing away waste and unnecessary energy. So taking a moment, feeling the inner spiral, breathe in, it becomes a little bit larger, spiraling around, brushing away unnecessary energy. As you exhale, you keep the new inflated size. Breathe in, exhale. It gets larger. It's about the size of my torso. And a little bit larger now. I'm feeling the space between the golden spiral and the cocoon all the way around my body. One more time, breathing in. I'm now making the spiral large enough that it's brushing up against the inside of the cocoon. All the way around. Feel it. Top to bottom. Good. And inhale, and as you exhale, keep the cocoon where it is, but let the spiral come back to its original size. Good. And now we'll do the basic breaths. So we do that exercise to sort of kickstart the energy systems of the cocoon and the golden spiral. And you start them off by paying a lot of attention to them, and then you let it go. And once in a while you touch base with them while you're doing the basic breathing, but you allow them to have their own momentum. You allow them to do their thing while you focus a little bit more on the breathing itself. Okay? And so, breathing in, so basic breaths, filling up the lower back, middle back, upper back. Right now I'm just touching base mentally really quickly with the cocoon, with the spiral, and then I go back to drawing up energy through my feet, through my hands, up the center line of my body, out through the top of my head, into the sun. And then I bring it back down. And breathing in, keep going. So, every day is a little bit different whenever you do these kinds of practices. So, just now for myself, as I was drawing down the energy from the sky on the exhale, there was a moment where I just spontaneously felt as though, there was fire and air, earth and water going through the cocoon. And it was different compared to usual. Keep going, keep breathing, inhale and then exhale. And inhale. And that's part of your practice. You have these natural little variations and evolutions in your practice, and you try to keep the general outline of the exercise, but you allow those small little variations to occur within. One last time. And good. And cleansing breath, 7 forced short out breaths. And breathing in. Good. And rejuvenation breath. So breathing in, tapping, letting the vibration from the tapping act like an ultrasound, loosening up. And then hold the breath, cup the palms. And then exhale. And hold the breath, cup the palms, loosening up any tension. And exhale. And one more time. And we'll do the prana shake. So we're going to breathe in, draw energy up into our body, close the circuits. We'll do the vigorous shake. This is a fun one. I find this one to be really dynamic with the cocoon and the spiral. I sometimes feel like I'm drawing energy into the cocoon, into the spiral, and by shaking it up, I'm not just shaking up and loosening stuff up in my body, but also in the space around me in those energy systems, okay? In those energy bodies. And so let's get into it. And breathing in. Close the circuits, hold the breath. And stand, feel your body. Feel the spiral, feel the cocoon, feel your body relaxing. Feel like you can breathe into any part of your body and exhale from any part of your body. And that's a little bit more of a boa exercise, but leopard and cobra will do it too, where boa will emphasize breath moving in from any part of the body and moving out from any part of the body. Leopard and cobra will emphasize drawing in energy into any part of the body and then letting it out from any part of the body. This kind of a practice is common in Systema, in various Japanese and Chinese arts. It's visualization, yes, but it's not just pretend. It's about extending control and awareness into any area of your body, not just for like power and motion, but sensitivity. So you can be aware of what's going on in your environment and respond as need be. So that's the purpose behind those exercises. So it's not imagination for the sake of self, delusion or something, but there are practices that just help sensitize your body to the environment so that you can adapt and move more readily. Okay, so that's the basic breaths. And let's get into the Celestial Dragon bow. And so we start off with Cobra, and then we go into the Leopard bow, and dropping down. Breathe into the tip of the tailbone. Breathe into the throat. Breathe into the third eye. Into the back of the brainstem. Form the hood. Start to exhale. Comes down to about throat level, and then the white leopard bow. And exhale. Turn the feet out, bring the triangle to the tip of the tailbone. Inhale. Exhale, bring the energy up to the throat, send the energy out from the throat through the triangle at your, up here. Then triangle at the third eye. Breathe in, exhale. And then hands at the crown of the head, inhale, and then exhale. Good, there you go. So that's the Celestial Dragon bow. We'll do it a few more times. Let me just check in here, make sure everything's going all right. Hello, buenos noches. Hello, Dorothy. Nice to have you here. Thanks for coming along. Jenny, hello. Hello, Paula. And excellent. Those are the best GIFs. They really are. Okay. All right. Okay. If you have any questions about the Celestial Dragon bow, feel free to let me know in the comments. Usually I see those scroll up. Let me just pop it up again, actually. There we go. All right. And I'm sure I'll be able to answer them while we're here. So with leopard, what we're going to play with today is leopard's perception of space. Celestial Dragon is a bit of a stretch, and I'm probably going to. There are a couple of important ideas that I want to cover, and so I'll probably be talking a little bit more today and be doing a little bit less movement than usual. Leopard and of course Cobra are really very interesting animals, and there's a couple of important points that I want to hit about the leopard. Leopard's perception of space. Leopard and the purpose of leopard's creativity and how it approaches and thinks and how it uses creativity in relationship to energy. Some of this is going to be a little bit dense, but it's it will give you an honest and full, idea of how you can bring leopard into your own life to use it for yourself. Okay, so let's start off with the basics. So space, the perception of space. So first of all, I brought a little educational material. These are the animal plaques. So each of the animals is symbolized by a plaque, a geometric triangle, circle, and square. The triangle and the circles are always different colors, and the square is always white. And each animal has its own plaque. So this, for example, is tiger, and the tiger is it's an orange triangle because it's the red of the heart and the yellow of the intellect fused and united as one. And the black is we'll get to that in a second. So that's the triangle color. The triangle, sorry, apparently. The triangle represents the individual, man. The circle represents the earth and the world. And the square represents universal laws. The triangle and the circle are always colored, and the square is always white because the laws of the universe, the cosmic laws, never change. But the animal, the triangle color changes because the animal has a different personality, and the color of the circle, the world, changes because the animal sees the world differently based on its filter of reality, right? So the world doesn't really change, but how the animal sees the world does. And so you have these plaques, and the plaques are really useful. The points on the triangles, like for example, panther. So each of the animals, for the triangle, each of the points of the triangle represent like 3 really important points of the animal's psyche, the animal's physical body, and the animal's energetic system. So for Black Panther, for example, one point of the triangle represents the senses, the next is the triangle, and then the third point is reaction. Those are the points of its psyche that make up the animal's psychology and its way of operating in the world. Physically, feet, adrenals, back of the brainstem. Energetically, Muladhara, the tip of the tailbone, Manipura, the kidneys, the belly, and the jade pillow, the back of the brainstem. And so the triangles sort of act as, they are symbols of the key points of a system that make up that animal. The reason why I'm showing this is this is where leopard lives. The plaques are really important. They are objects of meditation. So when we were doing the alternate nostril breathing yesterday, you would be doing the alternate nostril breathing while concentrating on a plaque of an animal. And as you contemplate each of the points, so let's say you're focusing on, the senses, instinct, and reaction. You're breathing, and meditating and contemplating on a deep level what each of those points means to you and what the triad, the dynamic of them together represent to you. And so there's it's meditation. It's a deep consideration of meaning. So there's that. And then on top of that, the idea, a triangle, circle, square is a really common geometric, pattern that occurs actually in a lot of different martial arts. So over at our Aikido of Santa Cruz dojo, Owa Sensei, the founder of Aikido, talks a lot about the square, the circle, and the triangle. And the triangle is about a wedge that penetrates. The circle is about the circularity of harmony. And the square is about a powerful, stable base. You get these recurring themes. And one of the uses of the geometric shapes of the plaques is to visualize yourself in those spaces. So when you move, you can, like with the cocoon, you can visualize yourself in a sphere. When you're moving in a particular direction, you don't just think of, yourself as a dot moving along the line. You think of yourself as a triangle with the wedge in front of you. When you think of moving around a person or around a situation, you can sort of think like the knight on a chessboard and moving along in a square, like you go forward and then cut at a 90-degree angle. And so these spaces become, these geometric shapes help you to think and of the space around you as you move through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the bow, the celestial dragon bow, and we're just going to try and visualize moving within these shapes. And I want to keep it simple and doable. Maybe we'll just stick with, let's do the cube, and then maybe we'll do the sphere. So let's give that a shot. So actually, let's just go whole hog. So just take a moment and think of yourself as inside a triangle. So the top of the triangle is at the top of your head. It goes down equally to both sides. It's an equilateral triangle. And just take a moment and feel that triangle. Then, around that triangle, circumscribing the points of that triangle, is a sphere, very much like your cocoon. Okay? And then, so you take a moment, feel that, the sphere, the three-dimensional triangle. And then, not touching the sphere, I don't know, like an elbow to your fingertip distance away, is the square, the rectangle, and feel that. The triangle has a feeling of being personal. It represents your psyche. The circle has a feeling of being the earth, of being supportive. And the cube has a feeling of being objective and impersonal, the universal laws, universal principles. So take a moment, and you're feeling those spaces, those shapes around you, and we'll do the bow, and feel as though when you're moving, that you're moving within those spaces, and sometimes you're moving through those spaces. All right, let's do it. And coming down, breathing into the tip of the tailbone. 1. Throat. 2. Third eye. 3. Back of the brainstem. 4. And form the hood. And here I'm kind of like outside of my triangle into the circle, and I'm caressing the top of the circle, and strike, and bring it in, form the hood, exhale, and then breathe in. Here I'm passing outside of the triangle, kind of outside of the circle, and then coming down, I'm outside of the triangle, outside of the circle, and bringing energy from the square area down and out through the throat. And then inhale, triangle the tailbone. Inhale at the throat. Inhale the third eye. And exhale the third eye. And then inhale and exhale from the crown of the head. One more time. And tip of the tailbone. I'm inside the triangle. Throat. Third eye. Over the brainstem. And that's all inside the triangle. And then I come out, I form the hood. This is outside the triangle in the circle area. And, in between the circle and the square. And then I exhale. And breathe in. And exhale, pressing out from the triangle through the circle. And I'm just touching into the square area. And then I bring that energy back into the triangle, bring it up to the throat, third eye, and the crown of the head. Okay? The significance, the imagination, what you're feeling as, you know, as you're passing through those different shapes, are sort of different levels of perception. Your own egocentric perception at the triangle level, a more social system kind of perception at the circle level, and then a cosmic kind of perception at the square level. And you try to see yourself doing the moves from each of those perspectives, sure, but you also try to see your intention developing. You try to see you're doing the moves from the point of view of your purpose. Why are you doing this? How are you building more harmony in your life? How are you building more harmony with the world around you as you do the bow? What is it you're trying to invoke? What is it you're trying to project? And the geometric shapes, you know, when you play with them, after you play with them for a while, they become a useful tool that you can use to look at what you're doing from different perspectives. Okay. All right, so let's do the bow one more time. And so again, triangle, personal, sort of egocentric, but like, you know, not about selfish, just, you know, first person perspective. Circle, more social, more systems based. It's, you know, how do you fit into your ecology? What's your role in your ecology? And then universal principles of the square. The feeling that I go for when I'm at the square level, I think of Einstein's words, we live in a cold and awesome cosmos that is indifferent to our existence. And that is cold, but there's something that is freeing and objective about that perspective, and I touch on it when I'm extending out into that space of the square. This is a lot, and this is like the heavier philosophical side, the heavier energy work, if you will, in the system. Okay, so cobra dropping down. Tip of the tailbone, throat, third eye, back of the brainstem, up and out, and strike, and come down, and inhale, white leopard, 1, 2, and exhale. Good. And breathe in at the tip of the tailbone. Bring the energy up to the throat. Bring it up to the third eye. And then at the crown of the head. And one more time. So I'm inside my own little triangle, tip of the tailbone. I'm coming up to the throat inside the triangle. Third eye, in back of the brainstem. And now here, I form the hood. And the hood is giving me, it's in this like, you know, square cosmic area. I'm stepping out into that objective, transcendent perspective for a little while. And then I start to exhale, I come back down into the triangle. And then here, I breathe in. And now my hands are passing through the circle and the square space. I'm drawing in cosmic inspiration, transcendent kind of energy. And then I bring it in and down and express it out. And then connect to the tailbone, connect to the throat, third eye, and the crown of the head. And standing down. Okay. Then you have the mudras for the animals. The leopard is pretty simple. We've done this one before. It's index finger, thumb on the second joint of the, not index finger, the middle finger. And cobra is a little bit more complicated. How's it work? There we go. So you curl your pinky down to the root, and then you touch the second joint of the ring finger with your thumb. And then you touch the index finger to the joint of the thumb. This is what it looks like. And then this finger just stays hanging out like an antenna because it's cobra. There you go. So that's the mudra. And then you stand with both mudras, the masculine cat, the feminine snake, and you are the balance between the two, the balance of the masculine and the feminine. Okay. Good stuff. All right. So that's a little bit of the bow, and that's bringing the shapes, the geometric shapes, into your awareness. This was like one of the first exercises we got given by Connie, was to visualize the plaques, to visualize moving through the plaques whenever we were doing the forms. And it's a really useful approach and technique and practice. Okay, so we talked a little bit about space, and that's the practical imagination exercise that you can do for a leopard in order to think about space. The question is, why are you thinking about space? Like, what's the purpose? Like, why is this exercise useful? Why would you do this? It's insane. And it's not. So our forms of perception as humans, our brains are designed, perception is founded on space and time. They are the fundamental characteristics and attributes of perception. Space and time are fundamental characteristics of perception. Neurons fire in time. Neurons are located in particular areas. They are organized in the cortex in a spatial way, and that organization and that synchronization form the foundations of our perception. Your mind is because the brain is organized. And this is what I tell my students in my perception classes. Your mind goes to tremendous efforts to create a perception of space and of time. And just to give you an example, so this is something that I talk about in my cognition classes. We very often talk about imagination as being unlimited, that you can imagine impossible things. And actually that's not true. You can't. You can imagine highly improbable things, you can imagine fantastical things, but you can't imagine impossible things. So I'll give you an example. This is a game that we play in our cognition class. So I ask my students, okay, imagine the Eiffel Tower. Can you imagine it? All the students say yes. All right, I want you to imagine the Eiffel Tower 2 feet tall. Can you do it? Yay, yes. And I want you to imagine it made of ice cream. Can you imagine it? Yes. I want you to imagine it, out orbiting around Jupiter. Can you imagine it? Yes. Great. Now I want you to imagine the Eiffel Tower not taking up any space. And you get a couple of quizzical looks. People start frowning their heads. And it's like, you can't do that. You can imagine doing a whole bunch of rubbery, warped, crazy things with the Eiffel Tower, but you can't imagine anything about the Eiffel Tower without attributing to it the quality of space. Space is a fundamental basis of our perception. It's impossible to perceive without space. It's like saying a three-legged biped. So we automatically conceive, in everything that we do, we automatically conceive of space. This is, and this use of space is really important to leopard. And if you think in terms of math, when you draw a graph, you're using that perception of space to understand something that's intangible. That's the quality of space that leopard uses and lives with. Okay? So why is it important? what that use of space allows a leopard to do is to think not in terms of individual events that happened, but in terms of continuum. So everything that the leopard perceives or does, or that anything that the leopard perceives, any kind of object, it sees that event or that object as being at a particular point along a process. A rock, it's on its way to becoming, it was once part of lava, and now it's on its way to becoming dust. And the rock that you're seeing right now is just the lump on its way to becoming whatever it's going to be. Societies, political processes, everything and anything can be thought of as being in a process, and its moment right now is somewhere along that process, somewhere along that continuous space. And so when leopard looks at things, it sees the continuum that particular moment finds itself in. So it's a big picture. It has a big scope of vision. And so being able to play with space with these plaques, as you imagine yourself in a triangle, in a circle, in a square, is a way of readying your mind, of doing mental gymnastics that make it easier to just like grasp, the sense of continuity, of a continuum. There's other reasons for those geometric shapes of the plaques. Some other stories and anecdotes are coming to mind. But for example, there's lore about ninjas using triangles and circles and squares, and they would meditate on them. And they would try to visualize, like they'd look at the triangle, close their eyes, and imagine the shape. And they'd get like really precise, on the angle of, whatever shape they were looking at. And what they found, the reason they did that is so that when they were casing out a place that they would have to like crawl through at night, they would be able to remember, the shapes of, the buildings, the rooms, the furniture, and locations of objects and so on. So it was like a kind of geometric practice, an ability to remember geometric shapes. But for us, practicing with those geometric shapes is more than just about, being able to, Mission Impossible way through some sort of facility. It's also being able to think and to in a moment be able to interpret what you're experiencing by giving it a larger context. Okay, so and this is what leopard is about. So space, very important to leopard. And so is creativity. Leopard basically acts like a channel, a funnel for information. And it's kind of like it sends information up. Like when things are happening down here on our physical plane, and if we need help, you sort of pray a little bit, and you take you take information and you send it up. It's like, this is what's going on. And then there's a response, and there's a sort of inspiration that comes down, and that you communicate that outwardly. So this is the kind of work that leopard does. It's sort of a living information channel. And there's in the book, Unleash the Dragon Within, I have some like personal accounts about my own experiences about that, which are worth reading. I don't think I'm going to put them on here on the video right now. It's more personal, but you can read them. And what I want to talk about is how about leopard's relationship to information and how that feeds into creativity. So what leopard does is that it takes an information and it communicates it out, yes, but it also creates. So for leopard, the points on the triangle are thought, intuition, and creativity. And so the leopard downloads information, it thinks about it, kind of like Einstein writing out a formula, and then produces something with it, like a formula, like E equals mc squared or something like that. In a nutshell, the leopard's creativity is has a purpose. It has a function. So basically, what the leopard doesn't just create to express itself. You know, it's not like little finger paintings of various colors and mud on some sort of, on a piece of paper that you splash on your refrigerator door. It's not just like, catharsis where you're just getting out whatever you want to get out. It's creativity that has a function or a purpose that signals something deep and profound. So we're talking like, Mozart and Beethoven's music. We're talking like Escher's drawings. We're talking the pyramids of Giza and the Mona Lisa. So the Mona Lisa, for example, first painting where it was, the eyes in the portrait follow you along wherever you're going. And you have the beguiling smile of the Mona Lisa. And the reason why that happens is it has to do with a trick of the visual system, and playing with. So the skills to paint the Mona Lisa, yeah, they're great. Sure, the feeling that you get looking at the Mona Lisa is very evocative, but the technique that makes the Mona Lisa look like she's always gazing at you, and the reasons why that smile appears and disappears has to do with very deep psychological mechanisms of perception. It has to do with scientific principles. So there's something that is scientific, that is objective, that is beyond, that is outside of just opinion, that is being that is part of the artwork. And it's not in words, but it communicates to us. You get this feeling of there's a bigger picture going on. If you're into Gurdjieff, we're talking about like objective art. So the leopard creates things that, yes, are inspiring and beautiful and artistic, but they are also functional. They communicate the ideas that the next generation is going to need in order to move forward. This is what the leopard is about. So it creates works, whether they're musical or literary or sculpture or movement. They create works that capture, embody the ideas that the next generation is going to need in order to evolve and develop. So this is the nature of leopard's creativity. And I wanted to get that across. And let me just check here. I saw something pop up. Where can we purchase your book other than Amazon? Thank you very much, Pamela. And you can, yes, Amazon. And then usually any good bookstore, you can ask them to place an order for you, and they should be able to get it for you. So here in Santa Cruz, we have Bookshop Santa Cruz, and they carry it. It's up at Banyan Books in Vancouver. I don't know where you are right now, but yeah, let me know what city you're living in, and maybe I can tell you what bookstore to get it. It's over at Boulder Bookstore in Colorado, and a few other bookstores that I know about. Any good bookstore. Okay, so examples of objective art. Like, I guess one of my favorite examples, and I don't know if it's like exactly art, but Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. In terms of literary quality, it is very creative. It's a beautiful piece of literature, of writing, and it captures principles of where we are at now and where we are going towards in the future. almost everything by Da Vinci is kind of like objective art. Da Vinci was a master of incorporating ideas of physics and engineering and anatomy and perception in all of his draftsmanship and his works. Einstein's E equals mc squared. The creative mathematics, the mathematical creativity that he exemplified, you know, opened up an entire different way for our generation to understand space and time. So these are all examples of white leopard creativity, of works and acts of creation that are not an expression of where we've been and how we felt about something that happened to us in the past, and that can be useful, but are works that incorporate principles and knowledge for that we will need and for where we are going in the future. So this is the kind of work that the leopard lives in. And that's a really important part of the celestial dragon. And you have these two opposites. So you have the cobra, which is psychic. It's hyper-personal. And then you have this leopard, which is like cosmic in terms of its scope, and it's thinking about entire generations and their journey forward through time. And so it's two opposing views, hyper-personal and transpersonal, and you bring the two together in the celestial dragon bow. And if you feel like that is mind-blowing, yes, you're right. It's two very extreme perspectives together. So let's do the celestial dragon bow one more time, and give yourself a chance to feel and incorporate that breadth of scope. And again, you have the visualization, you have your cocoon, you have the golden spiral, you have the cube, the sphere, the tetrahedron, the three-dimensional equilateral triangle. And so you're visualizing space being shaped around you. And at the same time, you're broadening your scope of vision for where we are, like as a species moving through time with your leopard kind of mindset. And at the same time, you're hyper-focusing on your own journey in life. It's like like with cobra, you are the needle going through the groove, and with leopard, you're seeing the entire record. And so you have both perspectives at the same time while you do the bow, while you run the energy. Okay? All right, so let's try it. Feel that psychic needle groove. Feel that record player perspective. And feel this triangle, the sphere, the cube. And dropping down. Inhale, tip of the tailbone, throat, third eye, back of the brainstem. Form the hood of the cobra. Strike. And exhale. And leopard. And tip of the tailbone, inhale. Throat, exhale. Third eye, inhale, and then exhale. And crown of the head, inhale and exhale. And so one more time, so feeling your own personal spiritual journey in this moment as you're breathing in. What's your karma, baby? What's the intention behind being here now in this moment, wherever you are in cyberspace there? Why are you watching the video? What's your intention behind being here? What's drawn you to this moment on a deep, existential, essential way? That's the cobra part. And then as you take a step back, you look and witness that individual intention in the context of what's going on for us on a global and collective level. All right, and exhaling, breathing in. Refining your intention and seeing it from a big picture at a distance. One more time, and tip of the tailbone, throat, third eye, back of the brainstem. And breathe in, throat. Oops, sorry. Tip of the tailbone, throat, third eye, and crown of the head. And then mudras. And you take a moment and you feel that very personal, individual, trajectory of your own life, while also looking at the trajectory of your life with that leopard satellite view. So the cobra is that personal tacking, and the leopard is that big satellite picture. Okay, we're going to leave it there today. This has been, for me, this is, if I seem a little bit tongue-tied or hesitant, it's simply because, for me, this is very personal. I'm not somebody who's ostentatious about his thoughts or his beliefs. And so this is personal for me, so I have to sort of overcome certain kinds of inhibitions when talking about the depth of what these animals symbolize at this level. It's one thing to talk about, pressure points and high-flying kicks, but it's another thing to delve into this sort of metaphysical area. But I hope that you find it useful. I hope that it gives you a different perspective with which to look at your day. I know that I have found these tools to be just really dynamic and useful and versatile. Our greatest resource is our mind, and what it's really good at is trying on different perspectives. And these animal metaphors are just a great checklist of how many different perspectives can I try on. We are living in interesting times, and I know for myself, I'm impacted by the murder of George Floyd and all of the other victims of police brutality across the states and the various metropolises. And the animal metaphors do not provide the concrete solutions that are required to solve these problems. The solutions are political, they're organizational, those are the solutions. But the mindset that we need in order to make those solutions, implement them, make them happen, I can find the mindset that I need when I go to the animals. So that's why I'm trying to provide this material. Sometimes they give me the animals, if I'm working on a problem, writing a paper or a math problem of some kind, doing the bows will just help me get unstuck. which, by the way, is one of Leopard's great gifts. You know, help me get unstuck and look at the problem from a different angle. And that'll help me with problem solving. Sometimes doing the bows helps me release, you know, stress, anxiety, fear. And maybe that doesn't solve the problem itself, but it gets me into a place where I'm then capable of solving the problem. And that's the motivation for talking about what I talked about today and for doing the challenge, to provide these kinds of tools. What else? That's it. So I hope that you're well. I hope that you're safe and you're healthy. I hope that you're taking care of yourself. And feel free to write any questions in the comments or to privately message. And I posted yesterday a dream interpretation from one of our members, Jenny Lynn, and it has to do with a dream that she had about walking on a bridge in the sand with a whale underneath. So take a look at that. And we are on day 27, and we finish on Tuesday, and we've done our dragons, and tomorrow and from now till Tuesday I'll do reviews, probably fill in some things that I wanted to mention but didn't get around to, and there's a couple of other exercises and ideas that I still want to share that are cool, and please feel free to let me know what you're interested in doing, and I'd love to be able to fit it in if I can. So thank you again. A pleasure, a privilege to be able to share this with you. Thank you for making the time. And so from Santa Cruz, California, channel WBOA, this is Stephen Macramella signing out. Thanks very much, everybody. Be well. See you soon.